The last time I created a top 10 roller coaster list for Hersheypark was back in 2018. From now till then, the park added 2 new roller coasters and refurbished a lot of their old ones. So in this video, I wanted to give an updated list on my current top 10 roller coasters list at Hersheypark. Hersheypark is located in Hershey, Pennsylvania, that is home to 14 roller coasters. Pretty much more than a quarter of their coaster lineup is world class, and definitely a park that is home to one of the best coaster lineups in the country. People can definitely have a strong opinion about this park's lineup, especially strong opinions about this park's best roller coaster. Before we hit the top 10, here are 4 coasters that completely missed my top 10 in the park. Starting things out at number 14, I have Coco Cruiser, which is the park's smallest ride. This is a family gravity coaster manufactured by Zamperla. It has a lift hill and a helix. Don't really have an opinion about this ride because it's mostly targeted for kids. At number 13, I have Wild Mouse. I'm not a big fan of these rides. There's a T-bar on this ride and on all the Wild Mouse rides that on every turn your legs will slam right into a bar, which is a very uncomfortable feeling. I know there are some Wild Mouses like the one at Dorney that have padding, which I definitely prefer. The last time I rode this Wild Mouse at Hershey was back in 2018, and I remember it didn't have the padding. I don't know today if they added padding. At number 12, I have Trailblazer. It's currently the second oldest ride in the park. This is a mine train manufactured by Aerodynamics. This is a ride I would say is targeted for families. It does look scenic, shaded with lots of trees. And just barely missing my top 10 is Super Duper Looper. This ride is manufactured by Schwarzkopf. It's not really intense. It just has one vertical loop, and that loop goes by so quick, you won't even notice it. Rest of the course just pretty much meanders around, and I think this is a good starter ride for kids to experience their first inversion. In our top 10, we got Jolly Rancher Remix, a Vekoma Boomerang. This ride got refurbished during the 2021-22 off-season. The ride was formerly named Sidewinder, which had a color scheme of black, brown, and white. They repainted it to green and blue and added a lot of props, including music, tunnel effect, theming. Even though this is still your average Vekoma Boomerang, they really updated this in a good way. At number 9, I have Comet. This is the park's oldest roller coaster, opening in 1946. This is a fun ride. It might not be as intense or anything like that, but this ride still runs pretty smooth and you get some good pops of airtime. The ride also features buzz bars. At number 8 is Lightning Racer. This is a dueling racing coaster built by GCI. The two sides race up each other. It's a fun experience. And the two sides pretty much intertwine with each other. At number 7, I have Laugh Track, a spinning coaster manufactured by Mauer Rides. This ride is wicked fun. This ride is indoors. It's completely pitch black dark. Tons of props. It can be unpredictable on where you are going. I even really like the queue line for this ride with all these mirrors. Keep in mind, this ride tends to have a long line even when I go to the park, especially if there's a time it could rain. So I would hit this first in the morning so you won't have to worry about it riding later on. Now we've come down to our top 6, and these 6 rides coming up are all fantastic rides at the park. You could easily switch between these top 6, and one of these rides could end up your number 1 in the park. And I can see that ride that you choose as your number 1. Like I said, people are going to have strong opinions about these rides, and these 6 definitely make this park's coaster lineup one of the best in the country. So coming at number 6 is Great Bear, a B&M invert. This is a great ride, and B&M inverts are just fun in general. This ride starts out with a helix before gravity descends into that vertical loop. It's a very intense if you're sitting in the back. You won't even notice where you're going. At number 5, I have Fahrenheit. This is definitely one strange roller coaster. This is definitely one of Intamin's rarest roller coasters. You start out with a vertical lift, you drop 97 degrees, you go through several inversions. It really reminds me of a Eurofighter, and I think Intamin really looked at the Eurofighter to make this model. At number 4, I have Storm Runner. This ride is what I like to call short but sweet. It's a ride that's very short, only lasts like less than a minute. The launch is very punchy. The elements as well are very punchy and strong. This is another ride I really like at Hersheypark. At number 3 is Sky Rush. I can definitely see a lot of people still have this ride at their number 1 in this park. It's an intense ride with tons of airtime. I first rode this in 2018, and honestly, I was not a fan of the ride due to the restraints. When I rode it again in 2024, with the new restraints, I thought the newer restraints were a little more comfortable to enjoy. Like, it really went up on my top roller coaster list with that change. And don't forget about that lift hill. It really shoots you up. It's a very fast lift hill. And number 2 is Wildcats Revenge, the newest roller coaster in the park. This is a RMC hybrid. Before its treatment, it was the original Wildcat, a pretty bad ride. This Wildcat is 100 times better, and I can see why this is another ride that a lot of people have at their number 1 in the park. It's a lot smoother, better elements. You get some really strange airtime moments on the ride that slightly turn. That's something I noticed on the ride that was quite unexpected. I also love the soundtrack in the station. I have a full separate review coming soon about Wildcats Revenge, so stay tuned for that. And coming in at my number 1 is Candymonium, a B&M Hyper. This ride opened back in 2020 in a brand new section. It's the first ride you see, and if there's one word to describe this ride, it's strong. You get some really good pops of airtime, and you experience tons of G's. And I really like how it goes around the Kisses Fountain. It might not be as intense as Sky Rush or Wildcats Revenge, but this is a ride that has strong airtime and an overall fun experience. So that is it for my top 10 roller coasters at Hersheypark in Hershey, Pennsylvania. If you've been to Hersheypark and ridden their roller coasters, I would like to see your list down in the comments and if you agree with everything I said. Subscribe for more Coastamonium videos and I'll catch you guys later.